Hello, I'm Ren, X-Plane Carded X, or Connor, and welcome back to Paintoma! This is day 16. I am painting the Harvest Terror, which is a really cool model. It has a lot of differences in its own little conception of things and the little minions that come along with it, which is pretty neat. So, one of the big differences is that the wings don't actually have that kind of weird turquoise bluish hue. These guys are just kind of straight up gray and black. So I'm just doing a little bit of a dry brush on them. So this little first bit, they will be kind of a grayish, a little bit of a whitish. I use Celestra Gray for it, so it has a slight tinge of blue. I'm using Dryad Bark for all of these pieces because the arms and legs and stuff of it are actually made out of wood, which is quite intriguing to have a model like this. It's just so cool, so very neat. All of the little pieces and baubles. I'm using Dryad Bark because it is unmatched in the brown it produces, and it just gives a lot of darker tones to a model like this, which is meant to be quite actually scary. You throw this on a table, your players will pee their pants instantly. I'm using, I think this is Rakarth, or it could be more Celestra Gray. I'm not quite sure. Mainly just for the little cloth pieces, so that way they can have that same kind of grungish texture that they do for the picture. Now, again, I do for this and the previous three little Raven Dude models, I have a reference for what they're supposed to look like. So by the end of it, it doesn't actually look too far off. The only difference is I changed it to where the cloth pieces that would be around the eyes are actually Mournfang brown instead of that Celestra gray. So that is kind of the only difference. And I do paint over pieces that are actually of Mournfang that I'll just have to go back in. Now you can see a whole bunch of that gray over all of those little bits and bobs of cloth that this thing has, which makes it kind of just pop out. It's fantastic. There's a lot of things I had to do on this model that I don't think I've ever done while painting. One of which is I had to make pumpkins. I had to paint little pumpkins. I've never had to paint a pumpkin. Orange is a weird color. I tell you that much. It's weird as hell. But they didn't actually turn out. That was probably the best thing on that model, honestly. Here we're doing the Mournfang Brown for the actual little hood piece that goes over top of the model. Oh my goodness, how beautiful. There is numerous things that this creature has to it because it is a big boy creature. This is something you probably don't want to just on the cuff fight. Oh yeah, here I'm doing, I believe this is Dryad Bark mixed with a little bit of soil terrain stuff. Maybe a Grelin Badland. I don't recall exactly. But um, it has, first of all, the big ol' scythe. That is a +7 to hit, which is, ooh wee, that would hurt real bad. And it does 1d10 +4, as well as 1d8 psychic damage. So this bad boy already hits pretty hard, especially if you're kind of like lower levels. I mean, to be honest, that's a take a wizard out if you roll a 2 if they just have base health and they're level 1. I mean, a a little paper cut would kill a wizard at level 1, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here. I'm doing the orange here, okay, so I got to pay attention. This is the fun part. I'm actually painting the pumpkins now. You may think, hey, there's not a whole lot of this that's been on the camera, and you're not wrong. First of all, I'm a poor camera person. Second of all, the camera is actually on top of the light overhead of everything, so it isn't actually at the angle needed to properly show where my eyes are looking. So a majority of the time I am just straight up painting the model off screen, which is mainly my own fault. Um, but yeah, I mean these little orange pumpkins and stuff. I didn't know what the hell that thing was on the right of these pumpkins. Maybe some like gourd or squash or something, but I could not be bothered. Also his eyes. I forgot his eyes have very unique shading to them where orange is on the outside, yellow is kind of the inside, and then the actual iris piece is just black, but the it's like a little star in the center, which is really cool. And I'm sad I couldn't paint that properly because I am awful. I'm awful at painting. I'm sorry. Here we're doing some shading. It is just the regular Agrax Earth shade, I believe it is. So I wanted to darken those up and give it that same sort of look. Let's find another thing we can speak about this creature. It can... What would be good? I don't want to spoil it too hard. It has claw attacks. +7 to hit with a claw attack. It does 1d8 plus 4 slashing damage. If the target is a medium or smaller creature, it is knocked prone. So that's dangerous. That's terrifying. It does have multi-attack. So technically it could attack with a claw and then just maybe behead you with a scythe if it rolls a crit. That would be pretty gnarly. Otherwise, I believe one thing... Oh, this will tell you how dangerous this creature is. I think we'll say this because it's a lot of things have this. The Terror has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects, and it has legendary resistances. Ooh, baby. If the Terror fails a saving throw, it can choose to succeed instead. So this creature, in all of its grandeur glory, if a player's like, I cast Hold, whatever this type of creature is, I won't spoil it, it can just be like, nah, don't think you do, actually. Actually, it wouldn't sound like that. It's a bird thing. But it's late at night, so I won't do caw noises. I can mimic a crow. Otherwise, there's a lot of things on this creature that I can't actually reveal. Because it's just too dang much. There's actually a lot here that is labeled as secret, so I don't personally want to say those, just so that way it doesn't get spoiled because, oh, we heard this thing, an offhanded thing. Otherwise, this thing is pretty neat. It has all sorts of attacks and useful bits of information for it. It's got resistances and immunities and senses of all different kinds. Every language. Yeah. No, it speaks every language. Sorry, that's crazy. I didn't even know. This guy knows all. He sees all. Maybe that's what all those little crow demons are for, you know? All their 6 eyes prowling around, gaining knowledge. Look at those pumpkins. God, they came out so nice. I'm just painting the kind of burlap sack color on this guy. I didn't even get a whole bunch of painting him because it was off screen because, God, I suck. But that's besides the point. I'm going to set this aside because we've read this. It's over now. We don't have to worry about that. I've said all the pieces of cool information about this homie. Here we're doing the yellow. I forget which type of yellow this is. I believe it's Uriel because I wanted kind of a layer, see if I couldn't get the edge around there really well. But it's rough. It's definitely rough. I'm not like... I still have to get control of brushwork, definitely, and I need to figure out my proper thinning because I don't think I'm doing it nearly enough. Here, we are doing the metal pieces, which I am doing as a base coat of Leadbelcher because it, first of all, looks like what you would normally use to assemble such a demon creature as this. Otherwise, it's what I had on hand, and I didn't want to use the... I think it's Grey Knight Steel because I don't think that the shiny pieces from that would make sense for something like this. It's meant to feel kind of not old and rugged. In a way, yes, but it is something that isn't just shiny, you know? It's not like a brand new creature. It's not one of those... straight out of the box type of monsters. This is some Reikland flesh because the model reference art stuff for it has a little bit of a darker tone on the metal pieces, which makes sense to me. So I just use that because then it comes out as like kind of like It's not super rusted, but it's rusted enough that it looks like it works somehow. Here, I've taken the smallest brush I have, and I've dabbed a little bit of black with a whole bunch of thinned down stuff with it, and I just barely put a little dot in. What I should have done here, actually, is I could have asked my sibling for a little bit of ink, and that would have made that go way nicer. Change of paint, change of water paint, hell yeah. Fast reload on the... It's always faster to change your paint water than it is to drink it, I think. I wouldn't know. I believe we're doing highlights for all the cloth pieces, which is going to be pretty neat. There is a spot here I had to cut out because I couldn't actually see it too well. It is whenever I highlighted the feet with a Mechanicus standard. So you can see a lot of the feet actually look a little bit nicer. Just because I wanted to give it something that stands out. Obviously, this is after I painted all of those little Corvo demons. So I finished those, and I'm like, I don't really like how the claws look on this. And I wound up just doing a whole bunch of extra stuff. I'm actually talking to people, I believe, at this point. I stopped listening to music because I was singing too much. And so I wound up just talking with people for a second while they were doing... I don't even remember. I think they're playing Diablo, which is... It's all right. They do that, and it's okay. But... Otherwise, the highlight on the little cloth pieces here, so that way it kind of stands out as it flows away from the person. You can see all those little edge highlights I've done there. Look at how neat that is. Well, it's not neat. It's very brutish, my painting style. I'm sorry. I'm not the best. But otherwise, it is not that bad. I mean, even putting this on the table... It would look better than maybe one of the models that you'd buy from WizKids. But not to say it's their usefulness. Look at that. Look at that little guy and his little hat and everything. Actually, as of recently, I've been watching a lot of kind of slap chop method stuff. And I'm wondering, because I have a model here, I'm wondering if I should do something along those lines to it. But I just haven't gotten to that point yet. I don't know how I feel about that. I like the flat colors too much, I feel, that they've kind of tainted my brain for what I appreciate. Here I'm just adding the highlights of Gorthor Brown to the whole homie because then it looks a little bit nicer on those little wood pieces and everything, and it kind of stands out a bit more, which is very useful, very good. Especially next to the stuff, all their little hoods and pieces and everything like that. But yeah, we're coming to the end here to see the final result. Thank you for watching, listening, going about your daily life. I've been Ren, XMyCardedX, or Connor. This has been The Terror. I forgot what it... Hold on, I can scroll up and see it real fast. The Harvest Terrors. But yeah, look at that guy. Look at him go. I had to paint pumpkins. All right, I'll see you for tomorrow. I don't actually know what is tomorrow, but whatever that is. Take care.